All right, we are live. So there you
Hello.
go. So we are here, Blades and Blasters, obviously, live tonight, and I have with me for the first time in this medium, Bo, GM Bo, famous for his tour games and Star Wars games. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Bo.
Hello, everybody. This is my first time on the Blades and Blasters radio show, Tet Talks. It's been many years coming. I've had several plastic surgeries to reconstruct my face, which was previously hideously deformed. But now I'm handsome and rebuilt in my current guise. So I'm
Bo
glad.
2.0
Yeah, Bo 2.0 is glad to be here on the radio show,
on the podcast or
on the
whatever you want to call
podcast.
it.
Yeah,
We got to
Tet
be
Talks.
hip. We got to be hip.
Yeah, we should
Uh,
probably start a podcast. We think we have enough to talk about with everything
yeah,
going on the server.
yeah, I think so. God, yeah. And Zypher might join us. I don't know. He said he would, but so yeah, I don't have any agenda particularly. Typically, I have some sort of agenda, but I don't. Do you have anything specifically you would like to talk about?
I think we could talk about maybe briefly, at least a little bit about the new arrangements on the server regarding how games are scheduled. I think that sort of thing could be helpful for all the players if they listen to it. Um, Non-Blades and Blasters people watching this, all two of you, disregard. But we've recently taken some measures to make sure that um, we place a priority and emphasis on campaigns, uh, meaning that we love one shots, we love trying new systems out, but we realize that we kind of got greedy and we are probably trying to do a little too much with the limited amount of time our players have, and so we've made a renewed commitment to campaigns and making sure that we finish what we start. Tet can probably elaborate a little bit more on that later. Then I also wanted to talk with you, Tet, a little bit about how you design your games, because I'm thinking of bringing some of those design elements into the tour campaign going forward in
Yeah.
October, November.
So let's just quickly talk about kind of what we did structurally. This is kind of a little bit of the brainchild of Bo and kind of with my elaborations a bit. Kind of what we did is we kind of looked at the server and kind of from a high level kind of said, what can we really support per month? We do have, and Zypher kind of did some stats for us, and really what it looks like is we average about 18 games a month, 18 sessions a month, and so you look at that and you want to really focus on the campaigns. So what we did is we put basically a session limit for actually games that have to be scheduled. So they're the priority games. These games can run 2 to 4 times a month. It doesn't really matter. It's just those numbers have to equal 12 or less. And so what we did is we put all our GMs in a priority, kind of a rotating priority, and then the most prioritized games go first. And then I am scheduling everything now to make sure that all those games do get scheduled in a fair manner. And then after that, people can fill in with one shots or other campaigns even that just aren't priority, or games that actually have been running more than 3 months could theoretically also do that if they need a little bit more time. So that's really the very very high level of this, and this is to fix a couple issues. One is games are just getting strung out too long because either the GMs are trying to do too much, or players are trying to do too much, and there's just not enough time to fit everything in a timely fashion to get things done. So,
Right.
so that really that's the big thing. What I saw and that was a growing concern for me is like the last couple months we had a big lull in GMs, and so a couple of us really kind of started pushing out games to meet that law. And then I was like, oh shit, these next few months are going to get packed because I can't finish these games on time, and these games are going to start. Okay, we got to do something. So
Hmm.
we had a similar kind of instance to this in January, and we um, kind of band-aided it, I would say, and then it kind of there was this lull, and so we kind of got away from our rules, and now I think these rules will allow the flexibility and keep us on track at the same time. I think with everything that we've done, so a lot of work's been put into this in the last 2 weeks or so from the admins and a couple other GMs. So I think it's good, and people who are watching that aren't members of Blades and Blasters, you can kind of take this to heart as far as how to manage a medium-sized player group with a lot of GMs, which I think is really kind of unique to our hobby, where you typically have more players than GMs, where we have more. We have, our GMs are also playing at the same time, but we have a large amount of our group, as far as a percentage wise, that run games. So you got to kind of maybe not let people go so crazy. So
Yeah,
I think,
I'd say about, looking at the stats that Cypher put up, almost probably 75% of our player base also run games, which is awesome because you get a chance to not only run games if you want to GM, but you can sit back and play, which is nice.
yeah,
And
being the forever GM is not always fun, right?
yeah, you want to take a break. And, I think, in my opinion, usually around the 3-month mark of running a game, you kind of want a break from the storyline or the system. Maybe you want to try something new. And then if you really like the theme, you really like the GM. It's nothing personal. It's like you watch a TV show, right? It's not all year long.
Hmm.
You want to change, and then a couple months down the road, you can come back to it. You can pick it up, and then it's fresh. And you have the anticipation building, and I think that's when it really gets fun. Um, Previously, I mean, thanks to Zypher too, he put this stuff out. Every month we would have around 18 games, but we would have around a 2-to-1 ratio of kind of one shots or episodics versus our campaigns. And our aim with the new rules is to try to kind of reverse that. So we're concentrating on the campaigns. We're getting that deep story. We're finishing up campaigns, and I think it's going to add a lot of value. And I think hopefully people will like them. If they don't, we can always change it down the road. But I think it's a system that tries to please everybody, even though that probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, the way we've done it, I think it lends to being flexible. So one thing I didn't want to do, and my greatest concern with this was not to keep players from playing games,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're not in games that are prioritized at the time. So I wanted to give like this extra periods, and I mean it makes sense, right? If we have 12 games that are
Plenty of
um,
times to schedule otherwise.
right, exactly. So because if we average 18, then that's 6 sessions right there for other
Mm-hmm.
people, and plus whatever else they decide they want to do. It's whatever. I think we could possibly go higher. I think we'll see if our new players that are greens right now, if they all come on board, if that increases um, our monthly games. It's hard to say, right? It
Mm-hmm.
depends on how much they want to and can play, um, and if GMs have the flexibility to run those games, then I think it will allow people to be flexible and run other games, either one shots or whatever they might be outside that period. If you're not the GM, like, what am I gonna? I mean, I'm never not gonna run something in a
Mm-hmm.
month. I can't see myself not. So, yeah, what am I gonna run? Well, I can run whatever, really. So that gives them that um, that gives them that flexibility. Cypher said it would be here in a little bit, but
Yeah, just because you're not running some really in-depth, weekly game or something like that doesn't mean you're not still putting together one shots. Those are quick, those are fun. But then during that downtime too, you're preparing for the next block, right?
mm-hmm.
And that's going to give you time to create something like a Conan, which is very, very labor intensive. And we can kind of segue into that.
Yeah, sure.
Tell me about how you
Okay.
created the Conan game.
So, Conan kind of was a bit of an experiment for me, based on kind of, I'll give credit where credit is due, is kind of experiencing Darren's game in a way. And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Darren did it exactly the way I did it, but I kind of saw a benefit in, he never ran games usually that ran over 3 hours. And I like that. And so I was like, well, how does he do that? And what he does is he doesn't have a specific ending to any session, really. And so the way to do that is to build most everything up front. And so now Conan in itself is probably a bit of an overkill, to describe how much was put into that. I think there is 20 or 30 slides, and each slide has about 4 or 5 maps each. Some slides are just one map or whatever, but so I made this city, and then so you know how you see the city maps, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 around them.
Right.
Each one of those had a separate
giant
map.
Giant slides with 4 maps.
Yep.
And you can change the GM layers and move the tokens around.
Yep. They're separated by dynamic lighting.
Right.
So that's what I did, and I don't think a game needs to be necessarily that big to do this. I don't really think it has to. So the benefits, and then there's a ton of NPCs, and then kind of the way Conan worked, and it kind of it did work like this, but I found that. Well, let me go back. So for plots, I had one big meta plot, which is still ongoing. I don't want to give too much away about it still, because I think there's like 2 or 3 sessions left in that game. But there's a big meta plot, which is kind of your, not railroady, but something that has to happen in some way. Then there's a bunch of like side plots and plots that they make kind of doing what they want to do, and I kind of react to that. So I had this plot matrix that said on day this, day this, this triggers, and I just kind of let it go, no matter if they interacted with it or not. I found that they didn't interact with much of it, because they were off doing what they kind of wanted to do, and which is fine. So that's kind of a lesson learned, is like most of these plots never got used, and they weren't like these very detailed things. It was like, okay, so some of them were as simple as this guy is having issues with jackals killing his sheep. Do you want to go help him for gold? You know, they had like a mission board, as well as things that actually were happening in a thematic kind of way. Then I had preset NPCs all over the place and that kind of thing. So that's the labor that went in. The benefits is I can stop a session almost any time. I don't the way it's structured, I don't have a beginning, middle, or end of any session. It just never really. I just stopped it when it made sense. If they did a fight, I would stop it after the fight. If there was a big fight coming and it was like 2.5 hours, I'd just stop before the fight, and we'd have to fight the next time. So it wasn't like your typical television show arc, climax, finale, that kind of thing. I think that's really helpful in keeping your sessions down in length. But you kind of need to pre-build some things. I would say the really the nicest thing out of set is I'm not working on games all the time. I'm not working on the game. I almost never work on it because it's already all done. Um, so sometimes I spend like a half an hour on a session maybe where before I'd spend 5 or 6 hours on it. Like if I was doing like for a specific session next week and I was like, I have to do this, I have to get the whole game built from scratch for next week. And so that is completely gone. I don't spend that much time working on Conan at all. And AAH is the same way. I pre-built that almost entirely up front. Um,
Now AAH is much smaller though, right?
it is
As
it is
far
a much smaller and
as
yeah.
far as like the amount of time you put in.
Yes, it is probably about a quarter of the time, if not smaller. Because it was meant to be like 5 or 6 sessions. It's going to be like 12 sessions. Um, so that's just not a fault, I wouldn't say, but just kind of a philosophy of the way I GM is I don't really push people forward too quickly, so my games can tend to linger. Um, but yeah, so that's the way I build them. Thinking on a more micro level how you can do that in something like Tor is just knowing kind of the general area they're going to travel and building out those areas in whatever detail you want to, and then let them explore that how they want, or how you even want in a plot. Um, you could still have a strong meta plot that really kind of forces them to do things,
Right. I mean
or
that's obviously present. There's that little golden band
yes,
that's important in that game, so that's probably
yeah,
going to happen. The
yeah,
thing I worry about is in a session, if and many of the tours have been this way, that there is a exposition, a building action and a climax, and sometimes it's worked like phenomenally. Other
yeah.
times it feels kind of flat, but I do worry a little bit about a session that's just kind of a plateau the entire time. And not that I really care much about that, but I'm always, trying to gauge if the players are having fun or if that's what they're looking for. I think there's a
Well,
couple ways probably to handle that.
I think most session have some sort of climax in them. It's just not necessarily at the end. So because you can't, if you're running a game that way, you can't guarantee. Really,
And
what it boils down
that's
to,
how some of the tour games have been 3.5, 4 hours.
yeah, it's
Because
it's keeping your session length down, right?
well,
That's the
I
thing.
mean, you're not going to interrupt the awesome RP to get
Yeah,
everybody to the
yeah,
confrontation with Black Riders.
right.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
So it takes 4 hours to get there.
yeah, right. Yeah,
I can't do that.
exactly.
I just can't do that anymore now that the third child has arrived.
Yeah, that's it's
So,
tough. It's tough for anyone, right? I feel that once you kind of get a little over three, your constant like
hmm
generally people, your concentration
yeah,
suffers.
I think so too.
And I think that's when you see like games kind of like kind of people are tired. They're like, wow, God, especially East Coast people, right? It's 2 o'clock in the
Right.
morning. Fuck that, right? So I think the way to really kind of limit those sessions, the best way, and to do it kind of in a very natural way, instead of just saying, okay, session's done now because it's just getting long, right? Is just kind of saying, as a GM what's coming based on what they're doing and what you're going to do. It's like, is this going to take a shit ton of time? And how long
hmm
we've been at this? We've been at this 2 hours and 45 minutes. There's a big fight coming up. Do I do that? No. You do some uh you know interesting way to make that session, and you see the riders coming over the hills towards you, what however you want to describe it, and then the screen fades to black and the next time you do it, right? And
Yeah,
so
I think with a group of players like we have, everybody is good. They're interested in their characters. The RP is good. I think if you have a session that's mostly just talking and exposition every once in a while, it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's
Probably
fine. I think it's fine. I see a lot of that in AAH more than I do in Conan, actually. Conan tends to be a little bit more action-packed just because of the nature of the game, I think, and the setting. But AAH, they sit there and they just talk about, well, it's a god-awful game, but they talk about killing each other, killing other people, how they can fuck other people over, how they can prostitute themselves literally and figuratively. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But they'll just sit there and talk, and I just sit there and not say anything for half an hour. To me, that's fine. But yeah, it just depends what your player likes to do, and I think our players tend to be just fine with that. So, yeah, and that's not every time. Like they had another fight in the cafeteria again last session, and then a fight at the end where Sims guy watched Matt's character literally sell her body, and he was not real pleased because he's a psychopath. And he kills the guy coming out, and the demons are loose and that kind of thing. I kind of pushing it forward a little bit because we need to get the game done next month, hopefully. So,
yeah. So October's or September's going to be kind of a cleanup month, and then October we're going to institute this new set of rules.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Fresh start on a lot of different stuff, I think.
Yeah. There'll be one campaign ending in the schedule in October, and that'll be MYZ. And then the campaigns that we'll be running, we believe, so I guess this will be the first announcement of this, is Rogue Trader will be on its second month. Vampire Dark Ages will be on its second month. And
that's
then
an episodic game, right?
It is an episodic game, but Matt asked me to schedule it, which is completely fine. So that's what we're doing. And then so those two games will be going, and there he is. Look at him.
From the new palatial estates in an undisclosed location, I'm going to say.
Undisclosed indeed.
Undisclosed location.
We'll say he's in the best time zone in America, though. How's that?
I see a little glass of something there.
Yeah. I'm the only one not drinking.
What?
I'm only drinking a little bit.
Un
poco cerveza.
Yeah, we were talking about what games are coming in October.
Ooh. Went over some of the rules changes. We talked a little bit about game building philosophy, how he did Conan, some other things, how I could work that into Tor. And then, we're talking about what's coming up maybe in October.
Nice. I'm all ears.
Is Swan on the radar, or is that going to be more January type of thing?
I think it's going to be more January. But I was thinking about something. I don't know if I have to go look at the rules again. When I started Swan, it was supposed to be an experiment that we started as preludes with pre-gens. And my players never got a say in the characters they play now. They developed a liking for the characters, but they never got a say. And we've not done this in games yet, or not seen it being done. I was thinking of running 1-to-1 games with the players in Swan, role-playing something in their background, something that eventually got them to where they are when the game started. It's experimental because it's one GM, one player. It's very different from what we've done so far. My interest in that sphere was kind of piqued by the fact that when I was talking to Darren, he said he's playing a Conan game where he's the player and there's one GM who he's playing with. So yeah, that's something I want to try. Between now and Jan, I want to try something like that where players kind of can build some lore about their characters in single one-on-one sessions, and then just keep the momentum going till Jan.
Flashbacks or current?
Yeah, like flashbacks, right? Like for example,
type of thing.
Yeah, like for example, Damien. How did Damien? I mean, Damien has a secret. How did Damien get into CYY? Right? What led him to that place?
No,
And
I think that's fantastic.
yeah, so it's interesting because of the fact that it's one-on-one. Is a little. It's because there is no time, right? It's you and the player just reacting to each other real time. Which is going to be interesting, I find. So
I would love that for
yeah,
one.
because
Harlan would be down. See
yes,
how he got to be his cynical self. But if you wait till January, I might die of throat cancer before before the game starts. I don't know. I'll have to talk with a voice box.
Oh, because of RT is going to get all our voices screwed over. Is that what you're talking?
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't have a voice. Well, I don't remember my voice. It's been so long since I played that prelude.
Yeah, all I know is I'm trying to play a demented guy in that. So
I think some of the most memorable and fun games I've played have been one-on-ones. I remember like when Blades and Blast was first starting out, like one of our first sessions, Tet, was a Song of Ice and Fire game, and it was just Tet's the GM. I was like a hedge knight or something, and go. It was good times.
That was like 30 minutes of prep by me too. I remember. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the best.
Yeah, sometimes not too. I did the Keltia prelude like that, and it was fucking awful. I thought. Well, we there was somebody pretty drunk in the session too. So.
I wonder who that would be.
Yeah.
yeah.
So October.
It wasn't Zypher because when he is altered, he just gets quiet. It's quiet.
It was not Zypher. No. So quickly, October. Game that would be finishing in October in the scheduled period would be NYZ. That'll be on its last month. Rogue Trader and Vampire Dark Ages will be in the second month. And the fourth game, I believe, is Masks of the name I cannot pronounce.
Yarth Hotep.
Yeah, something like that.
I like to call it Nylabone.
I'm just going to call it. I'm just going to Ho Masks. Ho Masks. Mask of the Ho.
Yeah. And then last but not least, of course, is Tour.
So. Yeah.
And that will be 12. That'll be 12 sessions a month. And then the next month, kind of forecasting November, will be at 10. And we'll have 2 games ending in that month. And so 10 will probably just, I doubt anybody will pick up a two a month game, kind of from my forecasting of what's coming up afterwards. And so then in December, there's only going to be 5 games that we know, or 5 session burden. So you might see me start Simbaroom in December, actually. We'll see. I kind of want to see how January is looking too, because I know Zypher will be doing Swan, and that sort of thing. But when I run Simbaroom, I will be running it 4 times a month minimum. That's my goal.
So Swan, do you want 4 a month or 3 a month?
So Swan, I think, is going to be 3 a month just because of the players I have in there. I don't think all of them can do 4 a month. That being said, I want to see like if December actually or November actually ends up seeing games being tapered, then I might finish the prelude, which is how you guys escape that particular system you're in. The idea behind Swan right now is that there are 6 players, and some of them have special capabilities, like the way Ian's character is, which is basically Snoop in space, and there's Dr. Dre, and there's Harlan, right? I feel these 3 characters can bring unique mission opportunities, because then
they're not dumbasses like the rest of us.
The other 3 are very utility, right? Like, for example, Ghost character, Caleb, Damien, your character, and then Sim's character, which is like a gunfighter. They were pretty much in prison, if you think about it, right? You guys were in prison. You are kind of out of your element, but then Harlan Mr. Snoop and Dr. Dre, I feel they can bring in different kind of missions. So ideally, if I can split the group up into different things, once you guys have your hideout, then I can add more sessions, right? Um, that way, I don't have to have all 6 in there. Because in my mind, to build a space opera, there needs to be a lot of moving parts. Like a group of 6 can't keep riding out for everything, right? My favorite scenario is if you guys split up into, say, groups of 2 or 3, do something which immediately fucks the rest of the group. That would be just amazing to sit back and watch.
Right? Oh, Harlan has no problem doing that.
Yeah, none of us have any trouble.
Shoot first, clean up the mess later, I'd say. Type
yeah,
of guy.
So it's stuff like that I'm kind of looking forward to once I start running Swan. And that's one of the reasons also I'm kind of pushing for Jan, because based on what I've seen last year, November, December, things tend to generally taper off. December starts taking a lot of people away, back to their families, which is good, which is great. But it means less time for role play. So
he's got it all figured out. He's got all the angles.
It's
we did add something in the rules about that, where if people in December are really getting fucked, that January could end up being a mop-up month, or have some special rules applied to it based on that, because people are guaranteed their sessions, right? So
correct. And I think folks who are watching this, folks who join the server based on watching these and other videos, when you take a look at the rules, it might seem verbose. I know a lot of people will say like, hey man, you guys are just playing games. Why build all of this, right? Why do you care so much? Why? It is not that. What we have here is a unique situation. Think of it as a reverse Roll20, right? Tomorrow, if Roll20 said that our servers can only run between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the night, and we can only have so many games running at a given time, Roll22 would have to have the same scenario, right? We are a bunch of people on a server. We don't play the same game or the same set of games, irrespective of what the games are.
Or the same day of the week.
Or the same day of the week. And there are people from different walks of life on our server, different, how do you say?
There's senior citizens.
I wouldn't say senior citizens, but I would say at different phases in their lives, right? They're like folks who are younger, folks who are like, with kids, without kids, folks who are older, and trying to accommodate everyone and being respectful towards everyone, right? When I mean being respectful is folks who are older can fall sick, have fallen sick. Now, what do? You can't just like say, hey man, tough shit, get well soon while we continue to play the game, right? We can't do that. At the same time, folks who are younger, who can play a lot more games, eventually find ourselves like, hey man, you're in 6 games and I can't schedule all 6 because you do not have the availability to be in all 6. But we want to facilitate everyone. So I guess that it comes down to having a set of very intricate rules, trying to figure out, okay, what happens in this scenario, what happens in that scenario, and then trying to be fair to everyone and everyone's situation. So folks who join, I guess if you look at BNB rules, it might seem like, hey man, this is just a game. Why are you guys so serious? But there's a reason to be, because there are a lot of people on the server put a lot of effort into what they do, whether it's they play games, they build games, stay on here late to interact and talk about stuff and figure stuff out. So the idea is to make an environment that's conducive to everyone.
Yeah, I think these rules are as close as we can get to, solving all our problems, but being flexible. Yeah, like I was saying earlier. So, hopefully it works. I mean, you never know, but I think it looks like it should.
Like Tet said, back in January, we did have kind of a very kind of skeleton version of this on the table, and we okay, it was there for a month, but then we didn't really enforce it. And so things again have gotten out of hand. We have a lot of good recruits since then, and they're awesome, and they want to contribute, which is awesome. But if everybody wants to contribute, you get that classic problem of too many cooks in the kitchen.
Mhm.
This way, we can have, you 4 cooks, you make dinner on Monday. You 4 cooks make dinner on Tuesday, and then everybody gets to enjoy a great meal. How about that analogy?
I like that. I like that very much.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Blades and Blaster. Everybody has a table at this feast,
And it's a grand feast indeed.
except a couple of people that have been kicked off.
Yeah, bad apples didn't spoil the bunch. So
Yeah.
I guess we should. We've done such great work over the last few weeks getting these rules together. We probably shouldn't even bring up recruiting. Can't work.
Well, Zypher will log off.
No, I have, like I said, I do not have any input on these matters. I will stand by my, the others. Yeah,
it's tough and it's not fun. When you get a good person, it's really great. But look, we did. People know. We went through a little recruiting spree the last month-ish, 2 months, and brought in like 10 people, and there's really 2 of those people left. Yeah. So it's not easy.
Pretty much saying we're like the Navy SEALs.
Yeah, basically hard.
It's about
hard
the same.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, and the thing is,
the Navy SEAls of make believe.
Exactly. It's the sad part is a lot of people. I don't know. I get the sense that when you try and explain why it is like that we are like that, people get put off, or I don't know, they take it the wrong way. It is not that we're trying to be high-handed or on a mighty horse. It's saying, "Oh man, look at us, our RP is so great. You can't even cut it." Right? It's not that, and it's
there's a lot of different things.
Yeah, it's a couple of things. If you are going to say you're going to do something, do it. This is for a lot of people on this server. This is a hobby. When it comes to being a hobby, that means they put a lot of energy into it, a lot of positive energy, which means that they take things a little more seriously. They build things out. They plan things out. It's not that you just land up on a no-name server doing some no-name things and nobody really cares about you. The people on here really care who they interact with, what you do with each other, the games you play, and if you're just coming here to be like, hey, I'm kind of free Saturday afternoon, I really don't know what to do with myself. My friends are doing something else. I'm bored. Let me try and get a game in. Nah, this is not the place. This is really not the place. You are not going to, whoever you are, you're not going to succeed because, one, no GM wants a flyby, someone who's just here for a day because they're bored. This is not some sort of like a social service or,
if you want that, just stay here with Roll20, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we want to know. We want to enjoy when we're playing, and everybody playing the same kind of tone and the same kind of way, right? Everybody has their differences and what they do and what they're good at, quote unquote. But you don't want something that's like everybody else is kind of following the same tone, and then somebody else is wildly different, which we see from some recruits coming in. They're just not as serious or whatever, and it's just like that's a drag, right?
You just want somebody that fits in that chemistry. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to delineate, but you kind of know it when you see it, and after you RP with somebody for a few sessions, you can kind of tell.
So I'll give you 2 examples here. The first thing is, I know we have all our videos online. I mean, you can access our videos anytime. Okay. Now I understand 3-hour videos, 2.5-hour videos are tough to kind of just sit through. We've said many a time to new people joining, you are more than welcome to come and join a gaming session, join the voice chat. We will give you access to the game. Just mute yourself and speak before the game or after the game. So you can see at live, what the people at the table are doing, right? And these are not just empty boasts saying our RP is better, our GMs are better, or the way we approach things are better. You can see it for yourself. That's one. Two, anybody watching this video, I want you to not want to. I would recommend you watch a session we recently pushed out, Chapter 5.
Wait until I fix the audio.
Yeah, wait, wait until that fix out. The reason I say go watch that video is because of a few things. One, I feel that yesterday's game, which we played, was a near perfect game I've had in quite some time. Reason it was near perfect is this. We played 4 sessions before this. At this time, all the players at the table have gelled in. When I mean gelled, I don't mean they're like best buddies, best pals. They are actually actively trying to fuck with each other. But if you watch the video, it is not done in a malicious fashion. It is not done in an immature fashion. The players who are trying to fuck with each other are silent while the plans are being made. They then react in their appropriate way without applying the knowledge that the other players RP'd. There was no meta in the game. Second, the GM then reacts to how the players are behaving. Again, there was no meta in the game. If you look at just the mechanics, the number of die rolls made in that game was so few but so crucial that it carried the game through. Just because a player said XYZ, the GM didn't ask them to roll something for it. And that shows you two things. One, the players trust the GM trusts the players, and the players trust each other. The players are RPing, they're pushing, but they're not pushing the limits. They're fucking with the world as they're supposed to, but they're not fucking with the game. You then don't need mechanics to keep people in check because people are keeping themselves in check. And I think that is what we're trying to drive at BNB. When a GM doesn't have to actively check his players through rules, through die rolls, and other mechanics, then the game just flows because there's a mutual respect across the table, right? You know, as a player, I can do these things, and it won't mess anything up. And and there are a couple of times where the player says, "I think I should roll for this," and you can see like he agrees that he's going to push something. This requires a roll, right? Which is these are things that you can only dream of, is what I find. People talk about it across forums, things like Reddit and Facebook, but they never actually achieve it because you don't actually trust the people across the table.
That's why you need to have a closer bond to the people you play with, right? And that's why we have this server, so we can trust each other and know each other and how we role play and what we're good at and what we like, and and what all that stuff. And I think the bonds that we make in game and out of game help. It all helps, right?
Exactly.
It's that chemistry again. If you're going to put the time, the sweat equity into a game, you want to put it in front of people that you care about and you want them to have a good time because you see them happy and it makes the GM happy. I mean, the dedication to our players. We had, one of our players' laptops went down and another one sent him a laptop through the mail so he could play. I mean, what other group is that going to happen? It might be a stolen laptop. I don't know. But it was sent through the mail.
Yeah, that area is known to have lightning storms, so you never know.
That's the dude, by the way. Very classy move.
Yeah, classy move, dude. Shout out to you.
Shout out to Le Dude.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's another reason why we're so particular about new recruits coming in, right? Or are you gonna just gel with a group in general? And if you're this leg puncher, I don't want to get into all the recruits that we've had and that we've turned down. And I know we sound like elitist douchebags sometimes. Maybe we are. I don't know, but
and that's the thing. There's no way around it, and that's one of the reasons why I do not want to say anything more in like discussions about recruiting and recruits, because however long I think about it, I just don't have the words to put it across nicely. Is I mean, just because you're playing a game does not mean that you should not take it seriously, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There are
It's
other.
not personal. It's just not, we're just
Yeah.
not a good fit, man. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah. Well, we've said that, but people
Yeah.
don't. People don't seem to get it.
Well, anyhow, I think September is going to be a great month to finish some stuff, and then we got a new things going. I think it's an exciting time for the server for sure.
I think also something that's been happening, behind the scenes is um, giving feedback. Right. A lot of posts across the internet talk about how, because it's a social game, because it's a game where you're socially interacting, right? Unlike a board game where you're just throwing dice and reacting to whatever your strategy is. Um, you are playing characters, you are playing some aspect of you in some way through these characters, right? And feedback is important. Now, that's the other thing, is that how do we give feedback to each other, um, in game, out of game, about the game, how things can improve from a player's perspective, how the player can improve from the GM's perspective. These are hard conversations to have, because the idea is not to again be a douchebag to each other. You're not saying like, hey man, your game sucked, what the fuck are you doing? It's not. It's like, these are things I like, these are things I didn't like. What can I do, or what can we do to fix it or improve it, right? And sometimes being on the other side of the table behind the GM screen, it is not very apparent that, oh, this is what the players felt. Pretty much I find myself thinking the exact opposite. I think it sucked, the players fucking loved it. um, you know so it's very hard to read your players when they're being their characters and then figuring out if they actually enjoy it or not.
Yeah, I think overall, like, GMs tend to be a little bit hypercritical. I think they tend to criticize themselves a little bit more than they should.
Good ones do.
One of the things.
The other thing I sometimes as GM struggle a bit is, I think, I don't know if you guys do, is like, I have an idea, right? I have an idea, or hey, this is what's gonna happen, but sometimes there's no one to share it with. You don't want to share it to the players because they're playing it. You want them to see it in game, right? But it's like, yeah, sometimes I think that's also an interesting aspect to.
Sometimes it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, sometimes, but it's more like, I think I've thought about this new cool idea. This is what I want to try out. And there's no, like, sometimes coming up. I mean, I guess the problem for me is whoever I play with are the people I would talk to also. So, so there's no,
It's
like,
hard to.
like, hey, I thought of this cool thing while I was in the shower today. This is what I want to try to do. I mean, about games, not about.
Always the shower.
That's
with
what
you.
I
Always
do
in
in
the
the
shower.
But it also
Yeah,
works
I
the other
agree.
way. It's like you're having problems with your game and you're having some doubts, and then also, who do you talk to? You can't talk to your players, because if you run it, then it just doesn't make a lot. You can give a big generalization for it, right? And I think this happened. I give it a very specific example of Simba Room, right? I was like, man, I don't know about this way. This is like the same thing. And I'm building it very similar to Conan, and so I'm building a lot of slides. I'm like, man, this is just all the same. I don't like it. And then Cypher's like, well, let me look at it with you. And we did, and changed my perspective on things. So
Yeah, it's always good to have a fresh set of eyes. I think we probably don't do that enough, honestly. And I think why it's because we're not a huge group.
Yeah,
It's most likely that the really active people are going to be in your game as well.
correct. Like in my game, I have both of you guys, so there's no way I can say, hey man, as a GM, what do you think about this? Because I'll be revealing a bunch of stuff, right?
Sucks.
Yeah. Sucks. What the fuck is this shit?
Delete it.
where's my magic blowtorch?
and then you have the cool thing, and then it just doesn't happen because the players just don't.
Yeah, just don't go there.
Pick up on it, or I think also, though, a good GM, you just roll with that. You got to be okay with it not happening, but you can also have like some form of that happening. Like I kind of told you about the payoff moment of the. I run an episodic game for the listeners, Star Wars D6 game using the West End game rules from 1980s, and there was a payoff moment towards the end. That, as I explained it to you, Zypher, didn't happen exactly, but something very similar happened, and it actually ended up being cooler than what I had in mind. So you just have to learn to be flexible, kind of roll with the punches.
Okay. And I guess part of it again comes back to your players, because when you have good players, you are assured magic happening at the table.
Yeah. So what happened was we have a player, 12 chapters have gone by. Nobody wants to make a force character just because people don't want to be that guy. So some of the recruits, I'm like, listen, man, you're the new recruit. Make a force sensitive character. And they're like, should I really do it? And I'm like, yeah, just do it, man. So they did it. And there's a section where one of the big bad, threw like a grenade that probably would have killed everybody because they were all grouped up, right? And then the Jedi, just as a Jedi, successful move object, stopped it in midair, started throwing it back towards the big bad. But then suddenly the big bad raises her hand out. And they're like, what the fuck? So then the payoff from that was grenade went off. Vader shows up, but not after the PCs. He was hunting the force sensitive kind of criminal. And they were able to kind of skirt out the back door, even though like when he showed up, everybody was shitting their pants. Because they thought they were all going to die, but it turned out that he wasn't even after them. So it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to be, but it turned out fun and everybody had a good time.
I think some of the best times in sessions are just things that you don't plan, really. They just happen. I always go back to this example, but it was Zypher and Newt and Dark Heresy. I always go back to it because it just everything that happened was just so incredible and unlikely. They were basically fleeing this. It started with Zypher killing the big bad guy, and Zypher's this lowly barbarian dude. He kills the big bad guy, the rogue trader guy. They flee. They get to the ship. Nobody can pilot it except the barbarian, who luckily rolls to be able to launch it from the hangar and get away just randomly.
All the while, the barbarian is losing his mind bit by bit.
Yeah, that's why we play the RPGs, and that's why we have the dice roll. A good system, a good GM, in combination, just that symbiosis, that synergy, can really make the magic happen. And I think those are the moments. You know, you can have a 2.5 hour session. If you get one moment like that, it's worth it. I think
it's worth it. Yes,
that's the thing. The thing you talk about. Every single freaking session, Ghost talks about spiders.
Yep. It's a memorable session for him, I think, forever, right? And so everyone who was in that session. That's the other thing, is that I feel some of our more active players want to be in everything, because there's bound to be some moments like this, and you want to be part of it, right?
You don't want to miss out.
You don't want to miss out.
But
yeah, there's a lot of sessions where the mental things happen. So
we should make like a list of like the really epic stuff from all the different sessions.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like maybe hanging up in the red room.
In the
red room.
Right opposite Tombstones, indeed.
Yeah. Be a banner hanging over them. Something like that. Yeah, I think every game has a character or a couple characters where like truly epic things have happened in one way or another.
Yeah.
If those games have lasted any amount of time, I couldn't even know where to start in like a game like AAH. It's like
all of them. It sounds like I'm not in that one, but it sounds like it's kind of twisted and sick.
It is.
There's nothing's off limits, really.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's done. I don't know. It's just amazing to sit back and watch that. It is not crude or crass. At the same time, it's not being done because it should be done. It's just very, very natural the way it's happening, right? It's yeah. It's like I think like Tet was saying yesterday, we can technically go 50 sessions of this game and not even hit what the game is about. It would just be people in prison trying to fuck with each other.
Yeah, it really could. Yeah.
Don't need a palate cleanse after that game. Righteousness.
Yeah. The honestly though, I have to admit, what makes that game probably more than anything is Matt playing a woman surrounded by men in an uncomfortable situation. Uncomfortable in character. She's not uncomfortable with it at all, but
yeah.
And it's like, so at first, when you start out, I was like, all right, how do I do this from, out of character perspective and not be rude, a dick, what boundaries can I push? And it's very clear I can't push any boundaries because there's none there. Right. So it's just, that's the fact, and it makes it great, right? I mean, the last 2 sessions, she's basically driven both those sessions for the most part, and both with just horrible, horrible things. So, basically setting up a prostitution ring in their block. Yeah,
Sounds like a lovely game.
it is a very lovely game. I had no idea it was going to be like this.
Just what I want to do with my big belief.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the other thing is, we as a group are lucky to have folks like Matt who come and play and add that dimension, right? We playing female characters is one thing. It'll always obviously be like, I've not seen one female character being played correctly. It's in some way or form. It's
it
comes off. Yeah. But when she plays a female character, it's like, even though she's doing crazy stuff, it seems more realistic to the people around the table, right? And it just adds that much more immersion to everybody else, which is just awesome to be a part of.
Right back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Yes, and now we have 2. So
yes, so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. What else? Why does it keep going back to him? He's not there.
Because he's making some noise in the background. I think that's why.
He's peeing in the other room.
I'm not going to take a leak, man.
Oh, if I believe it. What else? Zypher, you have anything you want to talk about specifically?
No, I think I think what I'm thinking about right now is keeping the momentum going for the games that are going to run next year. Kind of like find innovative ways to keep the players involved. Also taking a leaf from what I saw Ghost doing with his game in Rogue Trader, and I thought that was pretty cool. Is giving updates, saying, okay, this is what I've done regarding this game, or this is what I'm going to be doing next, right? Which is pretty cool to see, saying like, okay, this is what I did, like, built the macros, added like maps. Then players who are are going to join the game know, like, hey, the GM, even though the game is kind of far out, the GM is doing a bunch of stuff for the game, so you feel like, okay, this is going to go somewhere, right? So little things like that, I think that adds a lot more confidence. Even though the players do trust the GM, you never know, right? You're not meeting each other physically. You really don't know once you leave the server what's happening in somebody else's real life.
Yeah, you don't know what you're actually getting into, right? You don't know what this game is gonna. You have a general idea, right? But you don't really know exactly what. I mean, especially if it's a different game than you've really run before. Like, he's not really run Rogue Trader before, besides the 2 preludes. So you're wondering. And Rogue Trader is a very sandboxy type game. Very different type game in the way it's structured and run. There's a lot of vehicle combat, a lot of intrigue type of stuff. So it's a little different. So
Looking forward to it though.
Oh yeah. So I think those things, sometimes also I feel, I think that's what we kind of, one of the things we're discussing in the rules is that sometimes not participating also has its benefits. Just sitting back and watching what other people are doing, and getting good pointers from what they're doing, right? Because if you're constantly being active and like playing, and then trying to launch games, but you never take like some point to reflect, like what is everybody else on the server doing? How are they approaching similar problems? Then you don't. I feel sometimes you miss out on things that you can learn. Yeah, so that's what I think I'm going to try and do the next 3 months is, as I build stuff out, try and run some of these experimental things. Also see what other GMs and other players are doing. Like something which was very cool to see, which Ian did in the first session of MYZ is that immersion that he built for the players to kind of get a sense of the world they were in. And I know he uses a software where he narrates, and then he uses a software to modulate the voice for it to come off as very different, right? He had Matihi do a bunch of those voices, and he modulated. One was a little girl, one was an older woman, and something in between. So things like that. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, like we were saying, the production value in that game is immense, right?
That's off the hook. It's probably the best, of any of the games I've seen here.
Exactly, and I think that's also the thing is, I know Ian and me have kind of talked a lot offline, like when do you say a game is ready for launch versus how much do you spend time building it, right? And you can see that what he's built, he has put effort into it, and he's built something that is truly spectacular. So yeah, I mean, they're different, and that's the other thing. I think we're also talking about different GM philosophies, like building sandboxes, building, acts. It's I don't know, I think we have a lot to still learn from each other.
Yeah, I think everybody's evolving. Everybody's trying new things. Everybody wants to do things "quote unquote" better, and I think that's really a sign of a good group is people realize that they can do things better no matter what it is, right? I mean, so
yeah, we try. I mean, that's what we do the one shots for, and some things, sometimes it doesn't stick, but we throw a lot. We throw a lot out there, and we're going to find something because we try so many different things.
Old Queefer.
Yeah, old Queefer is going to be, but again,
I like that.
We did reorient ourselves though towards campaigns.
Yeah,
that needs to be our priority.
Yeah, well, what I found about one shots in general is it's not a lot of payoff for a lot of work. And so it brought me back to that having, 6 hours to 8 hours of work for one session, right? Or something like that. And I was like, I don't want to do that, right? So.
And you also end up kind of pushing your players towards the end because it's a one shot, which is not as much fun. So.
Yeah. Hard to gauge how long it's going to take. Then they end up being 2 shots. It's like,
But one thing I think we definitely want to try to do more is preludes. They might come off as one shots because you're just kind of
one-on-ones,
one-on-twos, a bunch of prelude stuff. Because that's the other thing is that because we're trying a whole bunch of different systems, many of these are indie systems. Many of these systems have not been played by a whole bunch of people, right? We cannot always depend upon a large fan base to have play tested it before us with lots of feedback. So then comes upon us to say, hey, while this sounds cool, I think I need to run this a little as like small, not episodic, but small preludes, and see if the players and I actually like it. If we don't, then we just kind of end the prelude, and that was it. That was something that we couldn't play moving forward, right? Because the worst is you put all this effort in, you start playing, and then you're like, not really. because it's one thing to read it in a book, but something else when you start really playing it. So
Yeah, for me, that was Keltia for sure. Right. It was like I was really hyped about it. I've had that game for a long time.
Hot on that.
Yeah, and then I started playing, and I was like, "This is ridiculous." It's just, and I think it had a lot to do with the translate. It's a French game. It got translated to English. It's not. Yeah, Ian likes it. Not for me. I don't think so. We did 2 sessions, and that's good.
I mean, Ian had a great character, isn't it? I mean,
oh God, yeah, there are good characters in there. Ian's character was hilarious, and that's another. That session was another like one of those quotable things. The whole Samson used your womanly arms to push the boat. So Ian's a very quotable guy, anyway. So.
that he is.
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
I think that's it. Lest we sound like old men.
Old man playing make believe.
That is
Old
right.
man playing make believe from our easy chairs while we sip wine and scotch.
Well, I have my, as Hartley says, daddy's juice, but I'm not drinking any of it. Sitting there. Any new systems or interesting systems you guys are seeing that you have any interest in running in the future or anything like that? Yeah, where is it?
Yeah, let me go get it. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably do Mithras down the road. That's going to be probably after this next session of tour. There he is. There's the man. Do you see a big picture of Zypher?
Yeah, he must actually pull it out his camera or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'll probably do Mithras in a Rome setting, Mythic Rome. I haven't decided how fantastical it's going to be. If it's going to be more kind of true to history, or if it's going to be kind of Romans, but there's beasts and mythic kind of characters about.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Probably a happy medium of the two, but I think it offers many possibilities for not only action and battle, but also like the backstabbing, the politics, the intrigue, and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting setting, I think.
I think that would be well received. I think there's a lot of interest in Mithras.
It's something that we haven't had yet either.
It's kind of what the Keltia was kind of supposed to be, like a very low fantasy type of, it's there but just kind of barely there, right? The fantasy elements, and it's mostly grounded in reality, and the system didn't work, so I didn't really push it with anything else. I hadn't really thought about Mithras at the time.
I have to look at it. The sheet looks pretty nice for Roll20. And they actually have for NPCs and PCs a character generator that you can plug the code into, and it will import it into the sheet.
Into the Roll20 sheet.
There's a third party. There's a third party website. You can do the character generation on that, and then it'll give you a code, and there's a code field you can plug it into, and it apparently will fill it all in. I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, that's sweet.
But that system does have a fair amount of crunch to it.
The D100 system, so you get all that stuff, right?
Well, you have hit points for each body part, armor for each body part.
There might be ways to make it less crunchy.
I've just glanced at it, but as a group, we tend to do a pretty good job, I think, of not making the combat crawl. So I have faith that we'll figure it out.
Question: did you just say Mithras is D100?
It is.
It is.
Mm-hmm. The 3 main old D100 systems are basic roleplay, which is like Call of Cthulhu, and then RuneQuest, which is kind of basic Mithras, and then there's Warhammer.
Yeah. Please, no, Bo. I mean, no. Anyway,
it doesn't matter when you sneak up behind behind Julius Caesar in the Senate and just stick a knife in his
Yeah,
gut.
you whiff it goes
No roll
through his
required.
it goes through his toga, robe, or whatever, and Julius looks around and kind of smacks you in your face.
He misses you
Well,
too.
Yeah, he
So
misses.
Ted, that was the selling point for Age of Shadow, is they say that the bonuses and drawbacks in that system actually have an impact because your modifiers are like 25%. You know,
I mean, there might be something in Mithras too. I didn't read that much into it, so I don't know.
there are ways you can mod it for sure.
Yeah. Yes, show Godbound there, Zypher.
Oh yes, there we go. So, Godbound. This is something that I am looking forward to playing. This is a
running
game.
or playing.
Oh, sorry,
Run?
running, not playing,
Oh.
running. This is a game where the PCs are demigods. It's written by Kevin Crawford, the same person who wrote Swan. I'm kind of like a Kevin Crawford fanboy, I guess. I just like the way he writes his games, and Cisco Certified Network Associate. Yeah, boy.
Yeah. CCIE.
But yeah, the game. What intrigues me about this game is the fact that since the players are demigods, it's challenging as a GM to come up with things for them to interact with, fight with. So it can't just be like, oh, you're going into some sort of like a dungeon, or trying to come, you're or you're like fighting like a monster, because as a demigod you're just going to destroy things like this. What I'm looking forward to in this is how, as a demigod, can players use their powers but also like restrict it, right? The whole adage of with great power comes great responsibility, and how, like, the larger superhero films show where you try to do something good and it has unintended consequences, and how do you deal with those unintended consequences. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The other thing about this game that I'm looking forward to is it's a sandbox, again, like Swan, but here it's more on Terra. It's some sort of a planet, and you're on it. So it will require some amount of world building, which I have not yet done as a GM. Swan has world building, but pretty much you're like building planets in space. You don't have to get into details, right? You just have to build a few cities on some planets, and the rest can just be barren rocks. But this one will have to be a little more intricate, because since again you're demigods, you can do some pretty nifty stuff and travel large distances. So, and one of the things I was personally thinking about is kind of using what Tet has been building for a setting that he is going to play sometime, the Dharma setting, where it's kind of Indian mythological setting, right? So I want to try and do where the demigods are kind of based on Indian mythology, or using stuff from there. Like we do things like Greeks and Romans and Norse, and the fact that I'm an Indian, I should try and play something that I have at least some background in. And
we have no interest in that. Move along. I think that'd be awesome. Actually, I'd be totally be down for that.
Yeah, so that's I think I'm building towards this. Like that's why I feel Trek, Swan, maybe some amount of Traveler is going to build up to this game.
So Traveler's still on the.
I want it to be on just because it has some interesting challenges that I cannot do in Swan. I don't know when and how it's going to happen, but I would like to see it happen as well. Again, I have some plans afoot, some calculations I have done based on what's happening in October, November, and December. And if I'm right, then things might happen in my favor.
I tell you.
I'm a bad man. What can I do?
So I think the curmudgeon has tried to get out, but we sucked him back in.
That is true. It felt very empty. My life did feel very empty when I left.
It's only a matter of time until you're moist again.
Just take
I
the color.
drizzle on the olive oil until you're moist.
For me, everybody is. I'm a system file, so we just
So basically, the rules are put into place to curtail Tet's use
me.
of
Yes.
multiple systems every week.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, a new channel.
Yeah, that's actually so my next game is this game. Everybody, this is a fairly popular game, Symbaroum, from a Swedish publisher. Interesting, different. That the GM never rolls. That's the interesting thing about the system, and modified by stats of whatever the defender is, or the attacker for that matter. So if an enemy attacks you, you defend. You roll a defense roll. If you attack them, you roll an attack roll. I never roll as a GM ever. So it's interesting. The setting is a little less interesting to me, but it's a dark fantasy setting, which I like. But it's based in just one big forest, massive forest. So that will be my next campaign. I'm building it currently. Probably set to run either late this year or early next year. What else do I have here? Another game that I want to run, the Delta Green. Delta Green is Call Cthulhu modern, essentially, from 1930 to present day. What were you gonna say, Bo?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah. And then I got a couple other things here. This is a very unknown game that will be my next episodic, and it's called Syntheside. It's cyberpunk, kind of versus robots type of thing.
Is it D100?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Delta Green is D100. The rest are not. So
is that how Drake does it, like this? Or?
And then what's your hate? What's your hate on for the D100?
Wait, I'll go get to that. Can you show that book again?
Yeah, show The Witcher again.
Yeah.
Where's my camera?
Oh.
Here's
nice.
Here we go.
Yeah, those are the 4 interesting things I want to run right now.
Steps. Here, a trail. Yeah. Let's follow it.
Yeah, I can't run everything, I guess. So.
No, you just held up so you're scheduled out to 2022?
Yeah, probably. And I want to run Legend of the Five Rings 5th edition when it comes out.
I think we should really look at that and make it that would be really sweet to run. Maybe I'll do it.
What's that?
You want to run that or play or either? You don't care?
Which one?
LO5R.
That wouldn't matter.
You want to say hello to Heather? Or I'm sorry, to
Matihi.
Matihi. Says it on there.
Hello, Matihi.
Edit.
Wow. Howdy. How's it going?
She has a big hat on.
Hello.
How was your John's game? Everyone is John. No answer.
I guess it was that good.
Oh, man. Yep. I'm at such a lag right now. I don't know why I can't hear Hangouts very well. So I'm on the YouTube.
Oh, gotcha. It's probably because you're a foreigner.
I'm at such a lag right now.
Oh, I hear it now.
I just heard it. Oh.
No, you just got it.
Foreigner comment.
Yeah. Save that foreigner comment for posterity.
Damn it.
We are still recording. We are still live. Just yeah. So this is something else you can look forward to, I guess, people watching. This is the kind of banter we have. Again, it's not who we are, but it's the kind of chat we do, and we just pull each other's leg. And sometimes when you join our main server, you might see lots of kind of cross conversation in our general chat. people talking about 10 different things at the same time, and it will come off as goofy, because it's meant to be goofy. We can't be in character all the time, every time. I guess you start being schizophrenic at that point. So when you come in and you see stuff like this, it doesn't mean that we're going to be like that in game if the game doesn't require it, right? So just because we are goofy offline doesn't mean that we are goofy during a game. And especially if the game is, you're stuck in the middle of the forest, elves are trying to kill you, and you come up with like, it's elves, I'm gonna
Punch him in the leg.
punch him in the leg. Yes.
Yep. Like punch.
Yeah, I think nowadays we do a pretty good job of kind of communicating the tone of a game beforehand. Even when we announce them, you say, "Here's the tone. Tone is mostly serious. Keep to it." In our player base that we have right now, because we've pared down the recruits, I'm not worried about anybody we have.
Oh no, this is not for the folks we had. This is folks who come in and join us and see this. It's Also, I find that while a lot of messages have been sent out and things explained, the grump in me realizes that people do not pay attention most of the time. So hopefully a visual of a brown man telling you that we are not goofs. A foreigner telling you that we are not goofs all the time. So
only some of the time.
Some of the time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As you can see, this is why I am.
Is this Matehe's first time on the Tet Talk?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
It's my first time too.
It's always someone's first.
It took me 5 plastic surgeries to get here to be able to present my visage to the public.
The 6th one.
Man, damn.
Thanks. That's kind. Very kind of you.
You're welcome.
Where's my Kylo Ren helmet? I'm just gonna plop that on.
Kylo Ben.
I had a really cool one from a Halloween costume a couple years ago.
Oh man. I mean, you guys can keep talking. I don't have anything specific to say currently. I guess how about this? Since you're the newest one of us all, what is your impressions of the group? Of how bad do we suck?
Oh man. So I haven't been using like Roll20 for very long. To be honest, I've been using it for about a year now, actually. And very inexperienced and everything, but I've been role playing for quite a while. And honestly, like I really enjoy like the group of Blades and Blasters and kind of like how everyone kind of mixes together in the personalities, and also how well actually people role play with each other. And honestly, like I've been LARPing for quite a few years myself, and honestly, and it sounds funny, like the quality of B&B games honestly like exceeds a lot of the live action roleplay games that I do play, just in terms of both narrative, story, and the people who are part of it. Not just because of like the quality, it's kind of like the quality of the people who are part of LARP and everything honestly is not very good. And I kind of like the fact that we actually screen everybody and kind of put them through the ringer a little bit, because we can see, who's gonna not actually mesh with the group and be a little bit creepy. And it's like, all right, let's just get rid of that person. It's nice. And I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that a majority of the group is a lot older. Insofar as, and also in relationships, which is nice because don't get hit on, which is great most of the time. So it's like, cool. I really appreciate
that's your biggest thing.
That is actually the biggest thing, honestly.
Married guys.
Like, thank God. It is like, Yeah, I did toot my own horn, but I do get hit on a lot when I do participate in these live action roleplay games, or even just in tabletops, like just going to my friend's house. Like, my one friend hits on me constantly, and it's like, man, you're like 35. I'm not fucking interested. It's like, come on, dude. It's like, I'm way out of your league. I'm sorry, but not sorry. But no, I really appreciate it, and I've really enjoyed the group, and I really opened up to the group kind of in the last 4 months that I've been part of B&B, I think, since around April, beginning of April, basically. Yeah, so I liked it so far.
Good.
Mm.
Well, that's
What do you
good to
hate?
know.
Mhm.
What do you hate? What do you do? What don't you like?
Fucking all of you. No,
You can say the dude. We won't tell.
yeah, I won't tell. I'm fucking live here. All right.
Get struck by lightning if you say anything.
Well, I mean, I guess the person who I disliked's already gone, so it's fine. It's all fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done a good job in the last 6 months of kind of, and it kind of happened naturally a little bit, that people that didn't gel as well with the group, they might have been decent role players or whatever, kind of left the group in one way or another. So I think we have less of that. I don't think we really have any of that, but
No, not anymore. I think I'm really, really happy with the way the group is right now.
No, and actually, personally, I think it is really. I mean, I'm very happy to hear that, Matt, because it's important that every player on the server feels not the word to
Comfortable.
say it, comfortable. Yes,
Mhm.
and that's what
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
the admins and everybody around strive for. And that's what's important, right? And I think once people are comfortable, then people from different walks of life, from different backgrounds joining us, just adds more authenticity to what we're trying to do and what we're kind of able to achieve. I mean, before you logged on, we were talking about how you playing Tammy in AAH is so much better than, say, one of us playing Tammy, right? It adds so much authenticity to the character, that it helps the other players to be immersed and not get like sidetracked into like stupid jokes or juvenile things, which again we don't mean to, but it kind of happens, like, which is pretty cool, which is adds I think it just adds a lot more to our repertoire.
Yeah, I think having a couple, we just got our second, hopefully, steady RP, or who's a female effervescent, and I've had a session with her and I just loved it. She was great.
I agree. She was fantastic.
It just brings that like added dimension, to a session. Not saying with everybody's not a great RPer, but a woman can play a female character better.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just like, I don't know how else to say it.
I don't
Like,
know. I like Tet's female characters. Come on.
No.
No.
Sylvia's basically
it's
a
just
man
like,
with tits.
it's just like for the Star Wars game, I gave Matt the option of playing, because she was taking over pre-gen type of a male or a female. She's like, do a female, and it's better that way. But
Yeah.
I have to watch some of these AEH sessions.
Oh, they're great. They're not to toot like our own horns, but we're fantastic in it. So, fan.
It's uncomfortable.
Oh, it's great. That's what makes it fantastic. It's a very uncomfortable game.
Yeah.
That'd be
Like,
uncomfortable.
I literally can picture Hayden just staring into the cell, being like, "What is that? What is this?"
Hello, Tammy.
Sim does a great job with that.
Yeah, he does a fantastic job. Oh god.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about that tonight.
What else?
I don't know.
Maybe we should do more of these. chats or have a podcast.
Ooh, yes. I think we discussed a podcast or at least doing some like Twitch stuff. At least considering more of the lighthearted one shots and such. Just like Everyone's John, that kind of thing. Because I think people like watching like especially live, like even if we branch into more serious things later on, but to kind of get quote unquote our brand out on Twitch and kind of draw people in with some of the funny stuff and do it kind of live, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I think that could be fun. And you're right. Some of these role-playing game channels that do their games live have, I mean, 4 or 5 times the subscribers we do, which it's fine, but they're shit. They're awful. I'm sorry. They're awful.
Sure, they're good.
Shady.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not good. I'm
Dude,
sorry. I'm not gonna name any of them, but there's some that are pretty big. I'm not talking about like Critical Role or anything, but there are some that are just awful.
Yeah, Critical Role's garbage. Quote Ted.
No, Critical Role is not
GM
garbage. But the thing is, but Ted is right. Like there's some stuff that you know when you're like looking for a new system and saying, okay, let me see what other people have done with it, and I'm looking at these videos and my eye then kind of scrolls down to see the number of subscribers and likes, and I'm like, what? I mean, forget the RP. I'm like, just your production quality. You start the video and there's a 10-minute blank like screen, nothing happening. 10 minutes.
It's because it's a Twitch like intro, like waiting to go, right? That kind of thing.
But they don't cut it out.
Yeah, they don't cut it out.
Oh my God, how?
Yeah, I know.
I don't really understand it. I don't understand, like, mostly for me when I go to watch these videos, I'm just listening to it anyway, so I don't know, but whatever. But yeah, we're creep. Let the boy watch.
Let the boy watch.
we're getting close to 500, so
Ooh.
it's there.
500 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
When are you gonna start sending us our dividends of that money?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get paid anything anymore.
Actually,
anymore. Underline anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I have like $25 in my AdSense account.
Oh,
if you really want it, I'll send it to you. I have to figure out how to get it out.
No, put that towards that trophy.
Hey, Cypher, you want to be moist now? You get a cut of that big pot.
No, I don't want to. I actually prefer that we do not have ads because I do not want to get mails notifying me to cease and desist from using certain musics in my.
Back in the day, I'd be like, Bo would be killing me. I'd be like, okay, this one's got a copyright strike against, or not a strike, but like, okay, I can't even.
I did an entire like sub flashback game, kind of for Tet. The whole soundtrack was Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's where Slurm came from. That was me, Chris, Rob, and Rivers.
Oh man.
Oh boy, that's like the old group.
That's Alpha B&B.
Alpha B&B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Matihi doesn't even know who 2 of those people are. Probably.
No.
I think it's for the better.
Oh, dude, I would pay money to see Matihi and Rivers. I would pay money.
Rivers wouldn't be Rivers
at the same time.
Rivers wouldn't hit on her.
Oh no, probably just Cypher.
He was busy hitting on Ghost.
Oh.
Woo. Spicy.
Yeah.
That's one thing about B&B. We are spicy like our curry.
Captain Curry, yeah.
Like a good curry.
The General So's, man.
The General So's, man.
It's so.
Oh man. Hey, anything else anybody wants to talk about?
I don't think so. You can use those Kleenexes now in the back. In the background.
Oh yeah, those are my shirt Kleenexes.
Okay, this is not the tone of our game.
Well,
it's tone.
there was a comment about somebody cleaning up after sex. So
Is that an AAH?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm missing out on all these games because I got my life.
Man.
Ah,
Who needs a life? It's
I'm
RPGs, man.
I'm too busy for
You can
that.
play other people's lives.
Exactly. It's more important.
What is it you're drinking right out of the bottle?
Breckenridge bourbon.
Oof.
Oof.
It's
Damn, fam.
good.
I poured my whiskey in a glass. Jesus.
Oh, I just don't. I have a water glass. I don't want to.
Damn, fam.
Damn, fam.
Fam. That's the
Yeah,
other
since-
thing. Is that, like with Matihi, we get all these.
Uh,
All us old men are just.
how
Yeah.
old was Effie? 'Cause she always says hot.
I don't know. I don't know what the
Oh.
fuck hot means. Besides
She's-
hot.
She
I
says
think
hot.
she's just turned on all the
thanks.
time.
She always
I was
thinks that's hot.
Pretty young, I would say.
Well,
Yeah, it keeps us
one
in the
time
loop.
though, the day we had Star Wars, I was talking. I had my family, like we all took the kids out, Dave and Buster's or whatever, and I said I was out with my family at dinner, and like we were playing games. And she's, oh, I'm doing the same thing with mine. So maybe she's older. Maybe she's old like me.
Yeah.
That or she's like hanging out with her parents.
Yeah.
With her family, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Her parents are 40.
I like being 40. I don't give a fuck.
There's no comment at that.
I do. I don't care.
Nothing.
Yeah. But we none of us are the oldest on the server that are here.
That's true. Yeah.
So I feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Not
by
the
12,
youngest.
by 12 years.
Are you the youngest, Matt?
No, it's I think at least Demi for sure.
Yeah,
He looks pretty
22,
young.
Yeah, he's
I
22.
think. And I think Flu was the youngest before that, right? He was 18.
He flew the
19.
coop, so it's fine. It's fine.
I'm surprised.
I'm glad.
I'm surprised he left when you came. He was like in heaven.
I know, it's the best thing ever. And there goes
I think this whole drama happened when I was on my little vacation. So
Yeah,
I don't think
so.
it was
You
really any
missed
drama that
out.
we knew. Yeah,
Yeah, you
didn't
guys knew shit all until I mentioned it. Then you're like, what? And it's like, yeah.
want to play games with me?
the people are going to watch this live stream. I want to join these people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
There's two women in here. I need to join.
Yeah, there's two women.
It's two women.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I couldn't believe it when Effie was. I was like, somebody's like, she's a girl. I was like, no way.
Well, Balmar was a girl too, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, like Puncher McGee. Yeah.
He might be the worst recruit we've had in a while.
Oh, no. She was great in my game. I don't go what you guys are talking
Are
about.
you sure? Are you sure? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
watch it.
I don't know. I feel like you're
I don't
blinded by
know.
the badge, fam.
Bo is the positive.
Yeah, that's what I had this conversation today. I told Zypher I needed a negative.
Yeah, because
I needed the negative.
you have
too.
2 positives, a neutral.
Right.
That's it.
Exactly. I needed the negative. I was like, I can't be the most negative.
There is someone.
You're the whole
wanting-
cipher.
I don't know how's anybody more negative than Tet.
I know. Well, he's right there.
Ciphers.
Jesus Christ. Fuck this. I'm leaving. Oh, he is the second player who rage quit one of my games. The first was Chris. Very good company.
Chris.
But it's not the same style rage quit. They were rage quit for different reasons.
It wasn't a rage quit in the middle of a session, though.
No, in the middle of the session, I lost my mind. Actually, if I remember correctly, I actually like what
You go, fuck, I'm done with this shit. Fuck this. And they were like, Zypher. He's gone. Did he leave?
No,
Yeah.
no, you guys never. Let me tell you, I wished that Star Trek session afterwards was recorded because I've never heard an ass cheating like that. No, it was Zypher and Flu.
Oh.
Zypher chewed his ass. It was. Everybody was just like silent. It was hilarious. It was. I can't even. It was good. It's like, dude, what the fuck, man? Are you gonna play this game? You're a pilot, but you don't want to pilot. What the fuck?
This Tet Talk started with like, here's the new rules. We're very methodical. Now, by the end of it, we're just like,
This is B&B After Dark. You'll learn the dirty secret.
after dark.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Nobody's gonna be watching this part.
Oh, that's true.
You sure?
If they've watched this whole video to this point, they deserve what they get.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, the reason I rage quit that was more emotional. Not like anything happened to my character. It was like it was I don't know, it was how do I put it?
It's going to change your character for good, right?
Yes, it was changing the relationships my character had with someone in the game. And yeah, I was kind of like in the game. I remember like I was like, "Are we really doing this?" And like I think I just fucking like out of character just fucking blurted it out. Like, what the fuck? And I can hear Ghost kind of laughing. It's like, asshole.
That was the only time though, like I felt like, oh, he'll be back. I'm like, I don't feel bad. I was actually smiling. I was kind of glad you did that and quit.
Chris's
good.
rage quit was hilarious though because
Yeah, that was.
he blamed Bo. he like gets killed
He
and
blamed
blames
me
Bo.
for talking him into something. It's like, I didn't talk you into anything. Are you a baby?
I said you could come back to the fight. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll come back." And then he got killed. And then he blamed Bo. You said I could come back. Yeah, I didn't tell you to. I just said you could.
Yeah. No, and that was. I wouldn't call it rage quit. I think it was more.
No, it's a curmudgeon quit.
Not even that. I think
No, it wasn't.
it's too complex a word for that person involved and the situation. I think stupid quit, moronic quit, imbecilic quit.
Just call it a Chris quit.
Yeah, I think that we could just go with that.
No, you don't want to be in that company.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, there was. I mean, okay, to people who are watching and saying why these guys is kind of ragging on this person. If you go watch that video, in a Tolkien-based game, you're having a human chop up orc fingers, irrespective of what orcs do. You chopping up orc fingers.
A Gondorian.
A Gondorian. I don't know if he's a captain, but at
Squire.
least
like
chopping
that.
up orc fingers, and then not expecting to roll for shadow, and then getting a shadow, which is the most appropriate thing to happen. Even if
Wow,
JRR
I'm surprised I
himself-
was even that hard on him.
Yeah, you're pretty nice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Don't
chapter
do-
3 is going to go.
Don't do things like that, and then not expect to be talked about.
I mean, we could talk about Chris all day.
More than Ryan Johnson, he killed Luke Skywalker.
We were talking about the worst sessions B&B
I didn't
put out, and,
I didn't-
that was my vote.
I didn't play that game.
No, I didn't play that game either. That was great. I don't think anybody who played that game still plays.
No.
Well, I mean, I think it was Grant, Elusive Lurker, and I don't remember
North.
who the other person
North.
was. Oh, North, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't
And
remember Elusive Lurker.
he was that's the only game he ever played. He was
Because he
great.
was elusive and he would lurk. That's why you don't remember him.
Yeah. It was an apt name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the worst one.
Oh, those are the days when the hate in me was so strong. Oh, it was
It's not
so
now?
strong. No, now it's
His
like
hate, Matt,
I
his
don't
hate
know.
has abated a little bit, man.
yeah.
In the last like 3 days, he's been in a good.
That's 3 days.
I've
that
been
why you
agreeing with him, so
rejoined?
he's in a good mood.
Yeah, no, I think
I just think it's hilarious that Cypher's like, I don't care anymore, or whatever. Then Tet's like, yeah, Cypher's been sharing some stats with me, and then I get this big spreadsheet of all this stuff. Oh, you don't care? Okay.
yeah,
He pushes it down deep inside.
Yeah, it's like
You hide that. You hide it deep down inside, boy.
yeah, because I'm unable to care and be nice about it. That's the problem. That's what I struggle with. So that's the issue, is that if I act like I don't care, then I don't have to be a douchebag calling people out on their bullshit. But then, in the moment I care, then I'm like, no.
Oh no.
No.
So you're the Hulk.
Yes, that's, I think, yeah,
Just bottle it up.
That's my spirit animal.
Oh God.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, like the last 3 days, I think, till I actually sat down and made that spreadsheet. I don't know. I think that the entire chat in GM was, yeah, it was, for me, it was a powder keg, because I was just, and like, not fucking.
I think this conversation and like the conversations we had on the phone the other day really goes to show the limitations of like just trying to get through it in chat or on your cell phone, especially cell phone. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Hell, I was on the beach having most of that conversation.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see my phone.
Yeah, I think, but I think at the same time, it's just, I don't know. For me, at least, it's very, very hard to sit back and not react. And I think when
It just means you care, though.
huh?
It just means you care.
Yeah, but I think the learning point for me is that when I sat and made the spreadsheet, right? I find that, okay, now I can have a more even keeled, cordial conversation rather than just ranting. And it kind of helps formulate what I want to say about certain things, which I think is the right way to go, rather than just fly off the handle and rant. Just it's a teachable moment, as one says.
It's an opportunity for improvement, Cypher.
Yep. In real life as well. Yeah. That's the power of B&B. It's not just all make-believe.
It's not.
Of course.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. We're really not real.
None of us are real.
Yeah,
technically we are not. Yeah, even looking at us, it's just that you have no. Yeah. Is this real life?
So is there going to be a meetup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should just land up.
Gonna be one.
Mountain
Indiana.
time.
Well, I mean, there's gonna be one in
I don't
October.
Maybe next August in Indianapolis.
Next August in Indianapolis, yeah. Man. Okay. No, let me say it.
Bring it. Let's go.
Yeah, say it, salty boys.
Bring your hate. I want to hear it.
We had to sit for a week and write a 4-page document on how people should plan their games and think of the sessions. And we want these same people to think a year ahead, book tickets, plan it out, and appear in Indiana in August. Yeah. I mean, I love you guys, but
I think the dude can just send people their airfare and everything will be good.
He's dedicated, so that's what he said.
Apparently.
To get the airport, sir, there's tickets on the no-fly list.
Him and his red T-shirt. He posted another picture of himself. He's got another fucking red T-shirt.
I think I roasted him already about his red T-shirt.
He's got a lot of red T-shirts, that guy.
I guess. Maybe he's a Reds fan. I don't know.
Oh, he's a red shirt, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tigers fan.
He's from somewhere up in
Michigan somewhere.
Up in the Great White North.
I hope the guy's not a Reds fan. Doing too well.
Sorry for him if he is. Yeah. So.
So yeah, what can we expect in December? No.
Yeah,
You
I
can-
thought so.
I already said there's 5. There should be five sessions.
Christmas,
So-
Christmas there.
Yeah, Christmas.
Hey, now Cypher, do they celebrate Christmas?
Your people.
My peoples.
Tom Peeper has made an appearance.
Your
Top
people.
Peeper, Top Peeper is in the character list.
Like I said, my man, I am a brown man playing a white man who plays a brown man. It's been quite some time since I know what my peoples do anymore. So
You should ask him. Just get them all in the group.
like how many such peoples like me have you met will be doing things like what I do on this
That's a good point. That's a good point.
How many Indians have I met? Lots.
my peoples.
The people.
Doctor, in most places there is a Dr. Patel.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dr.
man.
Patel. The lights are on in your black BMW. Half the room stands up.
Wow.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see the stereotypes does transcend. Like I know the stereotype exists because we also make fun of those scenarios, but it's fun to see when everybody else observes the same thing. It's awesome. It's
I think that's the cool thing about BNB is we all give each other a hard time.
mhm.
Nobody takes anything too seriously except when we're in a game and we're supposed to. But we can all give each other some shit from time to time. It's all in good fun.
But I do like myself.
Except when you make up stories about electric being out in your town. You can't.
Yeah. Or you get so drunk in a session that you have to stop the session.
And kick him and kick him and kick him. And it's just like,
Yeah, we do have some
Characters.
The most recent one, he repeats himself when he's drunk. Like he says, I'll punch him, and I punch him again.
yeah, punch him again.
Oh, man.
It was always the French guy.
Always.
It was Demi's session, yeah.
Yeah, Demi's fate session. My first session.
and I think the that is why it is so enjoyable when either he himself, the GM, or other players end up killing his character. It brings a lot of joy. I mean, it's like singing poems in Tor brings a lot of joy, but seeing his characters being killed, it is.
Well, Vidar will never get killed, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think that's the only character that which
I mean, he could.
Melik, that guy, I can't hit him.
See, the thing is, nobody's trying to hit Vidar. I think people are actively trying to hit Melik, and every other character before and after that also. I mean, I'm pretty sure when we play Traveler, El Baron is not going to be. I think everybody's going to try and kill El Baron. Yeah.
Well, his characters have definitely died the most from PvP from anyone.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Because he plays the heel so well. Like if he was in World Wrestling Entertainment, he would be a really good heel.
Doc is definitely, I feel like, one of the best RPers on the server when he's sober.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
awesome. He's very talented.
And with great talent sometimes comes quirkiness, Like all artists have their vices. And they have to deal with them. Like even Picasso had vices, right? So.
Doc, you're like Picasso. That's what his vision looks like when he's all fucked up. It's all squares and
Ears in the wrong places. It's good shit.
Yeah. This is the other thing, folks. This is what we also mean by, I guess, spending time outside of game with each other. Because anyway, you don't meet in real life, and I guess some of us don't want to meet each other in real life also. But
Definitely not. Yeah.
and some do.
yeah, some do.
Some do.
don't.
Some really want to meet.
Some really want to
Wow.
meet.
Wow.
Some don't. And because of that, when you spend time outside of game, before games, after games, you really get the sense for the person. I mean, you don't need to know the soul of the person. I mean, I'm not interested in that. It's overrated. But you do get to know the person,
Dark, very dark.
what their likes, dislikes are, how they're going to react to certain situations. Which means that if you're a GM, you can build games that will appeal to all the folks at the table. I mean, most of it is just that, right? Like knowing certain things about your players and then putting that in game. No rule set, no rule book, no system is going to teach you that. You just have to know your players, and I think that's what makes the game, not the story so much, not the setting, not the macros, not the visuals. Like they help, but you could have all of that and then not know your players and then just have like, yeah, this is what we're doing, and they'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably have pretty cool macros.
Yeah, you gotta have sick macros.
Yeah, I mean, yes, okay. I mean, for me, it's right now like child's play, so I just, it doesn't really challenge me. It's a checkbox. Yeah, we've had our macro wars.
My macros are proliferating through the site, so people use. Ghost is using my macros for Rogue Trader. Matt's using my macros for World of Darkness.
Yes. Sure, I agree. I mean, if people like to play these common run-of-the-mill games, then sure, macros will.
Wow! Shady.
Yeah, but that's some of the ways we GMs keep pushing each other. Macros and audio, lighting, flickering. I mean,
flickering is really nice.
Snow. I mean, somebody on the server went as far as snow. I mean, it looks cool and all, but
wow.
Who had snow?
That's me.
Yeah, you got snow.
You had snow? Yeah. Is that Conan or what?
Snow.
Conan.
No,
it was Shadow of the Demon Lord, right?
Shadow of the Demon, yeah. And Flicker was in Conan.
Yeah, there's plenty of Flicker.
Flicker's in all Conan, right?
Yeah, it's covered
in Flicker. To slow down the computers.
And then, it'll slow you down. And then seeing all of this, somebody else said, you know what? I mean, all this is cool and all, but this is Little League stuff compared to what I can do, where you can click on your token, click on a macro, click on the enemy, and boom, right?
And now I'm doing that in Simbaroom too.
Yeah, so we have GMs like that who then take it further and use scripts and say, "This is how you do it, boys."
Who says that?
Whole Ian Wolf.
I wonder.
I mean, I've seen the first time I saw it was in Tor, where you can click on all these things and it calculates all your TNs and everything.
I wonder who did that.
I know.
An amateur, non-coder.
I mean, you say you're an amateur and non-coder, but I mean, you built a sheet.
Yep.
So, not many people on the server can say they've built sheets.
Couple sheets.
Yeah. 2 sheets. Matrix and
3. Age of Shadows. I built that one.
Oh.
And Tet was impressed with that, I believe.
Yeah.
That is a high praise indeed. It's very hard to impress Tet.
Sure. You asked me, how'd you do that, Bo?
What was the response?
I don't know. I was rather drunk at the time.
Yeah, because my AAH sheet is fucking hot garbage.
If there's not a ton of rolls, though, I mean, the reason you need one from Tor is because once you get in combat, there's a lot of rolls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, otherwise there's not, but once combat starts, there are.
AAH is not a ton. Actually, I like that system. Okay, it's for a simple-ish system.
I do like Space Simulator.
Man, AAH, you built that game, the cover page for that game over a year before you played it, Tet. The cover sheet for that AAH, you and I remember on Roll20 it popped up on my thing forever ago before you played it.
It's been a while. Yeah,
It's
I
back
mean,
it's back when Rivers was here. I knew that.
oh, that was a different iteration. That was yeah. I was planning on running it one time, but I never got around to it. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna run it. I finally did it.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, Conan I built in December and didn't run it until April. That was a pretty long. I ran a couple preludes, but
how do you deal with is everything kind of built in as far as notes and that sort of thing into the game, or just kind of remember it all? Or
I have Word documents for each plot, and I have an Excel spreadsheet for the plot matrix. When plots kick off, when they end, when important events in the plots happen, it's just a spreadsheet. And then each plot, I have it linked out of Excel, so I can just click on it, and then it'll open up the Word document.
It's cool.
So yeah, that's how that works.
I use Evernote for mine. I could.
Grade, folks. It's called professional grade.
Yeah, damn. All right.
What do you use, Matt?
What do I use? Improv.
Ooh, even more professional grade.
Well, I use I have an outline. It's like, okay, this is basically what I want to run. It's like, here's it's all written out. Like, this is my goals. It's like, if the players don't go that way, that's fine. And it's like the rest of it is just literally, it's like, okay, here's off the cuff. It's like it's probably gonna happen anyway. So here's all improv.
These young people and all their off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, my sessions used to be planned down like trees.
Mm-hmm.
It would take me fucking 10 hours to do one session. And I was like, I can't waste that much time building the session anymore. That was all my Song of Ice and Fire stuff I used to do is all that way.
Yeah, and then it's like if it doesn't happen, you've sunk all that time.
Oh yeah, well I expect it not to happen because at least everything has two trees. Mm-hmm. If they do it this way, it goes this way, and so every time one part isn't being used.
But I think you should also add the fact that it's not that you now spend less time. You still spend 10 hours, but now you build 5 more games in those 10 hours. You become more efficient.
Yeah. Right. But honestly, Conan, I've probably spent since I built it originally, I've spent less than, let's say, 5 hours on the game out of game, probably, just from doing all the pre-work.
The pre-work.
Yeah. I did one session where I had to build a dungeon for them essentially, so that whatever that took, and then I inputted the monsters and stuff, and then this next session something similar. So, but
so you can technically
really
start one more campaign in the same setting, but in a different area with different people, right?
It would probably need to be in the similar area because I started on the punt because I was going to do part of it in Shim and part of it in punt. And I just never got done with punt. And I was like, I'll do it later if they get there. And they're not going to get there. So
yeah, but you could take a whole different set of players and put them in the same city, but they're doing something else. Yeah.
Yeah. I could reuse it easily. Yeah, and most of the plots too. Yeah, but yeah, and there's going to be a season 2 of that game. So, but there won't be in Shim. They'll be in punt. So I'll be doing a whole new thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So they'll be in jungle. It'll be kind of like Ian's game, probably the Conan game that he's going to run sometime.
He was going to run. I think, as far as I know, he's tentatively canceled it. So.
Why is that?
What was his reason?
The rules, Tet. The rules.
Yeah, it legit is the rules. He's just like, I don't know what's going on with the rules, so for now I'm gonna cancel this. And it's like,
just do it after NYZ.
Right,
I mean,
whatever.
for now that's fine, but just do it after NYZ or whenever he gets a chance to do it again. That's fine.
Put it in the crock pot. Let it sit for a while. Let it simmer. Spend hundreds of hours in Photoshop, then release it.
Yep.
Yeah. He probably even spends more time working on games than I do.
Oh
which is
God, he totally
fucking
does.
impressive. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, MYZ,
Extreme. Yeah,
sorry,
it's like
MYZ.
all custom graphics. It's awesome looking.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a nice game. It's fun, and I get to play somebody basically retarded. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yep.
Chris level.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
The roast is coming. Ooh.
Chris is watching. I'm sorry, Chris. I like you, but
He's not going to watch all this.
you can't read.
Oh God.
Do you think you'd be able to... Never mind. Nope, not gonna go there. I was gonna go in for the roast, but I don't know.
And on that bombshell,
he's like
a legend.
15
legend.
years.
So we're still talking about these people like Chris and Rivers. Still talking about them.
I try not to talk about Rivers.
They're legends.
He owes me $40.
He does. You sent him a book, right?
I bought him a book at Gen Con and sent it to him.
Romantic.
Yeah.
He moved back to Portland or wherever he's from, by the way.
Chris. Yeah.
Go find him.
Good for him. Good for him.
Shake him down.
Portlandia.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have fucking satellite internet anymore.
Oh.
He's dial up instead.
It probably would be better. It was. Yeah. He would record games sometimes, and it would be like. It was like, why did you even send me this?
Oh my goodness.
Poor guy.
Yep.
Poor guy. Zypher, how long were you around when he was around?
I had just joined the server when Ravenloft started. Ravenloft was my first game, right? So yeah, I don't know if he was here before that for how long, but yeah.
Yeah, well, he started in Bo's Star Wars game.
Yeah, so yeah, I think he was here much before me, but
pretty much in the middle.
Yeah, and that was an experience.
Yeah, the history of B&B is kind of funny. It's definitely not meant to be
Bruno.
I mean, it even goes before Bruno. It was me just trying to get people on Fellowship of the Dice to play live games every once in a while. And they played one game.
Yeah, that is the crux of the matter. It's just it's like a chicken and egg. We need to find people, but then people don't know about us, and then
yeah, I mean, it's fine. I always say, like, people are like, how big do you want it to be? And I don't want it to be much bigger. That's not my vision for the place, at least. I want to know everyone at least a little bit, right?
It's hard. I mean, like, you want it to be big enough you don't have a bunch of scheduling conflicts because the same people are in all the games.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I don't think that's really our problem.
I don't think so with these,
because
it's not going to be a problem.
No. I just mean it's not that they don't have the opportunity to get in games. It's just that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Like I've spent so many times just like I spend 24 hours and I like instead of like being like, oh, I want to play, I just be like, I'll wait, and I'll be like, okay, no one's fucking doing anything. I'm just gonna hop in. It's like, come on, people.
That's the only people who find success here, the ones who just hop in.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's usually the people who like talk all the time. Because it's like kind of like the core, honestly, the core group.
Yep.
Do you think it's like a personality thing or a disinterest thing, or
I think a lot of it's like just based on kind of like what they do in their life and like what they do outside of B&B, and B just definitely a personality thing,
like people are super antisocial because this hobby tends to collect those type of people.
I guess. Like, I mean, personally, I don't consider myself very antisocial. Like, I go out and do shit.
Well, I mean,
like,
we're sitting.
Well, I think people that play like the real life, the tabletop RPGs are way more social than people who just like play video games all day.
Oh
yeah. Just because it necessitates. I mean, playing these games, you have to cooperate with other humans and talk with them, and I gotta go.
You gotta go. Yeah, I know it's like 2:30 right now.
It's 2:30. I gotta get up in 4 hours.
Oh man, you need to go to bed. This needs to, yeah.
All right. Well,
I think Cypher's been trying to exit for the past 10 minutes.
No, I can.
Oh, you're not?
No,
Okay.
it's just 12:30 for me. I can go for a couple more hours, but it's for
Fuck
me
you,
just.
bye.
Okay, bye. I know I gotta go soon
Nice.
too.
No, the reason I'm laughing is because like it's you're if you think about it, if you just watch this video, it's kind of been like going and you're talking and it's building up and down, building up and down. Eventually, like fuck it.
The end is just about like the person's like very serious. Okay, let's talk about B&B with the changes. And now it's very, very
Yeah, if you ever
creative.
want like serious stuff to talk about, don't invite me.
Yeah. Just when you got here, it just got bad.
Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome. I am a few tequilas deep, so it's good.
No, that's good. Well,
It's John tonight, man.
yeah, that's true. He did get it on a weekend too.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
How was the new guy?
New guy's pretty good.
I think they're still live. Just letting you know.
That's
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm like, it's pretty good.
good. All right, we can stop. Okay. All right, guys. This is it for us because this is just not helpful for anyone. Bye.
Well, I mean, totally.